6 managers, 6 systems, 6 different ideas of what Rayan Cherki should be, and none of them were right, because the only man who ever truly understood what Cherki needed was the one man who never coached him, until now. Pep Guardiola doesn't throw words around, so when he called Cherki,
Rayan is one of the huge talents I ever seen.
And then added, quietly, almost as a warning, that the football world needed to be careful with him, people should have written it down. They didn't. And what followed was 5 years of the most avoidable waste in modern football, because here is what Rayan Cherki actually is.
Rayan is an exceptional player.
For me, he's the best coach in the world.
I never saw Messi play make a cross like I done.
He made his Lyon debut at 15, not in a cup game against a lower league team, in League One against senior professionals. He scored his first senior goal at 16 years and 140 days. He became the youngest player to ever appear in a Champions League semi-final when Lyon faced Bayern Munich in Lisbon in 2020 at 16. He came off the bench and looked like he belonged. That is not a prospect. That is a phenomenon. The talent was never the debate. The debate was always what surrounded it. At Lyon, the managers changed so often the players stopped learning names. Silvinho, Garcia, Boss, Blanc, Grosso. 5 coaches before Cherki turned 21, each one arriving with a different philosophy, a different formation, a different idea of where Cherki fits and how much freedom he gets. And freedom is the one thing Cherki cannot play without. His entire game is built on it. Take that freedom away, put him inside a rigid shape with defensive instructions he never asked for, and you get a different player entirely, a worse one. Every new manager at Lyon essentially pressed reset and asked him to learn a new language from scratch. 5 times in 5 years. Meanwhile, the club itself was collapsing financially. Owner John Textor was trying to run 4 football clubs simultaneously, while Lyon were needing money and threatening to fall into League 2. Players were being sold to keep the lights on. The youth academy's greatest product was being asked to carry a sinking ship on his back, while simultaneously being treated as a sellable asset the moment a decent offer arrived. Then, January 2025 happened, and this is where the story gets genuinely ugly. Borussia Dortmund came in with a €22.5 million offer. Cherki wanted to go. He had watched his development stall, watched his best years being spent in relegation battles instead of Champions League nights, and he made a decision. He hired lawyers. Lyon said no. Textor went on Canal Plus and said there was no chance Cherki was leaving. Dortmund walked away. Cherki stayed. And somewhere in Manchester, Pep Guardiola watched all of this happen and made a note, because that summer, the moment Cherki's contract situation gave him the exit he needed, Manchester City moved €36.5 million, 5-year deal. Number 10 shirt handed to him that only goes to the player Guardiola trusts most in that position. Cherki was 21 years old, and Guardiola gave him the most significant shirt number at the club without blinking, and then you saw it. You saw exactly what Guardiola had seen for years. City debut against Wolves, comes off the bench, scores. Club World Cup against Lyon, scores again. Champions League against Borussia Dortmund, the club that tried to sign him 6 months earlier. The club Lyon wouldn't let him join. Cherki scores in a 4-1 win. By December, he was player of the month. 83rd minute winner at Nottingham Forest. A Rabona assist against Sunderland in a league game, because that is just how his brain works. The real story isn't what Cherki is doing now. The real story is what he could have been doing 3 years ago if anyone had listened. Guardiola's system doesn't ask Cherki to defend. It doesn't rotate his position every 6 months or hand him a new tactical manual with every new appointment. It does what Guardiola has always done with the players he truly rates. It builds the world around them. The false 9 he invented for Messi. The free role he protected Foden in for years, refusing to loan him out, waiting until he was genuinely ready. Guardiola is the only manager in the world who treats genius as something to be preserved, not consumed. Lyon consumed Cherki slowly for 5 years and never noticed. Every manager arrived and saw a talent to plug into their system. None of them asked the question Guardiola always asks first. What does this player need from me, not what do I need from him?